3rd and 7. They lead 7-3. They're trying to get more. 3 receivers to the right. He's back looking left. Throws that pass. Intercepted at the 15-yard line. Trenton Thompson. He's out of bounds at the 20. But man, Trenton picked it off in front of Jamar Chase. And the Steelers have denied the Bengals a scoring op.
Touched it last time. Get it this time.
Hey, great job. Hey, look.
Dump off to the left and running is Jalen Warren up the sideline with a burst of speed. Looking left, throws he out, and it's pulled in.
Good.
Pat Fryermuth. That's a big first down inside the 20 at the 18-yard line.
Keep beating.
Over 100 yards in catches.
Keep beating.
I'm talking about Pat.
He goes left, runs for the goal line. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
Great run by Najee. This is great blocking up front. You got Suamalo, you got Danny Moore, and it was up to the Iron Horse just trucking it in.
Hey, where'd he go? Where'd he go?
Here we go. This pass is caught, and that's a touchdown.
That's the way to work. Come on.
He's hit and sacked. The Steelers win the football game.
Let's go. Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missy Matthews. After losing to the Browns in Cleveland the week prior, the Steelers headed back to the state of Ohio to face another AFC North foe. The Bengals were without quarterback Joe Burrow, and Pittsburgh's defense took advantage. But it was the performance of the Steelers' offense under new leadership that had everybody feeling different after the game. For more on how they got back in the win column, let's welcome in Bob Pompeani, who's with Coach Tomlin. Guys.
Hey, Missy, thanks very much. Steelers coming off a big win, another AFC division win, especially on the road. Those are always big, and the Steelers get to 7-4. Head coach Mike Tomlin is here, and you made a change. You were looking for more fluidity from the offensive unit. How do you assess what happened in Cincinnati?
You know, I thought with the small sample size, we got some of the things that we were looking for. It wasn't necessarily reflective in points. The field positioning component of the game, particularly in the first half, had a lot to say about that. But just largely the fluidity in which we operated, the way the guys communicated, the recognition of things, and the winning of weighty downs, particularly in the second half. The third down component was significant.
Yeah, it was almost perfect from Kenny Pickett's point of view, making some big third down conversions. Let's talk about his performance. It seemed like it benefited him quite a bit, just by virtue of how he looked, how he felt. I mean, for those of us watching, and also, you know, using the center of the field, the middle of the field as much as you did. You know,
I don't know how much of that performance I could attribute to the change, but he was using all portions of the field. He was making timely, rhythmic throws, and he played a good football game.
Running game also has been on point here. You've had 4 straight games, I think, over 150 yards. That hasn't happened in like 19 years. What's been the key to that resurrection of the run game to the point where it's this good?
Well, Broderick Jones would lead you to believe that it's him.
It's not?
But, you know, the guys have just been playing well as a collective. We've gotten the type of cohesion that we've desired, and we've gotten stability within that unit. You know, JD missed a couple games there due to injury. Dan Moore missed a couple of games there due to injury. Broderick has been in the lineup now through that time, and so we've had a collective that's gaining continuity and momentum.
You only had 16 points, as you mentioned, although the yardage was vastly different than what we've seen. Could have been more if not for that touchdown, it looked like, to Deontay Johnson. First of all, how does that work when it comes to, the rule has changed, you don't have to survive the ground. But when you saw it, you know, days later, did you think maybe we should have challenged that?
I'd never live in the hindsight world. These decisions have to be made in a timely manner. When we're in road game stadiums, we go procedurally. We're never guessing. We didn't get a good look at it from field level. We were never given an opportunity to look at it up top in a timely manner. And so in those instances, I assume, particularly as it pertains to scoring plays, that if it is in doubt, that they give the receiver the touchdown in an effort, because scoring plays get automatically reviewed. I know that's the spirit in which they work. And so without information, I'm not wasting challenges or timeouts. I trust that they're following that procedure, and so we moved on with our day.
The very next play was that fumble by Jaylen Warren, which you never like to see, but it could have been more disastrous because there was a return, and Deontay Johnson seemed to be confused about what to do. You talk about learning lessons, teaching tools, whatever. Is there something to be taught there with him?
I don't know about confusion. He looked like a guy that was still lamenting the previous play. And so, that's something for him to address, not only with the media types of the world, but with his teammates. And so I'm going to allow him to do that.
Any discipline involved from your point of view with that?
Again, I'm going to allow him to do that. And anything that we do in terms of addressing it is going to be done in-house, as is normal protocol for us.
Switching to the defense, once again, a tremendous performance against a good running team that you knew was going to run, but you stopped them, only 26 yards total. Benton seems to be, all your draft picks really have done very good work when given the opportunity to play. He's gotten better with each and every game. Have you seen that yourself?
Yeah, he's a guy that's benefited from reps and exposure. Cam missed a significant amount of time, and it forced him to grow up quickly. And then even when Cam came back, Mon Adams has missed some time, and so he's gotten a lot of exposure. That exposure has been good exposure for him and for us. We like the trajectory of his play. He's getting better each and every week, and it's needed.
Joey Porter Jr. continues to play at a very high level. It's interesting with him because in the NFL, they're going to call pass interference whatever. He tends to be a little handsy at times, but he's also very much glued to his receiver. I'm sure you like that trade-off regardless.
He is highly competitive, and that's what you appreciate, and his mindset. This is a guy that doesn't run from it, he runs to it. Talking about the fight, the opportunity to shadow guys like Chase. This is what he is looking for, and that's one of the reasons why we're excited about getting him where we got him, because we were cognizant of that mindset.
Is he one of those guys you often say you want a guy, whoa, not sick him? Is he always coming to you asking for these big assignments?
He wants the smoke, is all the guys say. He wants the difficult task. He wants the challenge of seeing some of the best in the game. He wants to pit his skills versus theirs, obviously within the schematics of what it is that we do. But I just like his general outlook and demeanor. The level of confidence that he has in himself is legitimate. It's displayed not only with how he plays on Sundays, but how he's approaching his business leading up to those Sundays.
All right, Coach, when we come back, we're going to talk about the next opponent, which is Arizona. You'll see the game Sunday on KDK, first of 2 home games. Steelers trying to get to 8-4. We'll discuss the Cardinals coming up in just a bit. Missy, back over to you.
All right, sounds good, Bob. And the Pittsburgh and Arizona game will be one of 3 rematches of Super Bowls happening this week. Speaking of Super Bowl 43, 2 members of that Steelers championship team are among the 25 semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2024. This marks the 8th time Hines Ward has reached the semifinal stage and the 2nd time for James Harrison. The list will be trimmed to 15 finalists before the class of 2024 is selected prior to the Super Bowl in Vegas. The 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show will be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Well, it's not often that Arizona comes to Pittsburgh. Since the NFL merger, they've only played here 3 times in the regular season. And you have to go all the way back to 1969, Chuck Noll's first year as head coach, for the last win by the Cardinals in the Steel City. Now, for more on Sunday's matchup featuring a familiar face, let's send it over to Bob and Coach. Guys.
Thank you, Missy. We're talking about Arizona, and the one prominent name that comes to mind, actually there were 2, Kyler Murray, we'll get to him in a second, Coach, but James Conner, a guy you drafted, you liked him here, he's done well in Arizona, still continues to put pretty nice yardage running numbers together, yes, over 500 yards. Good to see him coming back. Anytime you get a chance to say hello to him.
Got a lot of love for James Conner. He and I exchanged texts a couple of weeks back when he was injured. Man, I'm a big supporter and appreciator of his. He is a legitimate tough guy. He plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. He runs hard. He plays with emotion and passion. The things that he did here, he's still doing out there. really good in the red area, finishes off runs with violence in the secondary. We got a handful dealing with James Conner, but we're familiar with him certainly.
He certainly is a touchdown maker. In fact, it seems like this team, they've missed Kyler Murray for quite a bit. Now he's back, but before, I mean, they concentrate on running. They have 11 rushing touchdowns, so I imagine that's on your radar.
No question, and the quarterback component of that as well. When they had Josh Dobbs at quarterback, some of those rushing touchdowns were designed quarterback runs. Kyler Murray scored it on a designed quarterback run just the other day, 2 yards out. And so the quarterback mobility component of it adds another layer that makes their run game very, very troublesome, particularly in the red zone.
Is Kyler Murray back to where he was before his injury?
You know, I don't know that. You know, we don't see him every year, and so from a health standpoint, I don't have a frame of reference, but I'm looking at a guy who has all the movement necessary to extend plays, to escape if you give him an escape lane, to cause problems from a mobility perspective that those type of quarterbacks cause. And I would imagine they wouldn't have him out there unless he was ready to go. And so I hadn't really given that a lot of thought. I got 3 games of tape that says he is.
Yeah, we have some pretty good receivers too. They have young players in Wilson, McBride, but you also have Hollywood Brown. I would imagine he gets a lot of attention when you're breaking down their tape.
Yeah, Hollywood we're very familiar with, obviously being an old AFC North guy, but equally as impressed with Moore, the former Purdue man, the things that they're able to do. He's in the backfield some. He's a gadget guy, a lot like Elijah in Cleveland, the way that they use Elijah in Cleveland. And so I got a lot of respect for some of the things that I see from Moore on tape. And their young tight end, I think, is really emerging as well, being a really consistent contributor, a guy that's tough to cover and difficult to get on the ground after the catch.
It's unusual to watch how they play defense because they have a lot of players who have checked in on the sack department. They have 13 and a half or half sacks for 13 different people, which is unusual to see, but do they come at you from different angles when it comes to that?
Man, they play a lot of people. If you just look at their edge people, you know, 25, 52, 45, 18 are 4 edge guys that play a lot of football for them. In sub packages and things of that nature, they play a lot of people. They play nickel and dime in the secondary on possession downs. And so just the plethora of people and the number of different things that they do schematically is really challenging. In the midst of it all, they got a very versatile and experienced safety tandem in Buddha and Thompson. And I can't say enough about those guys. They've experienced some attrition at the linebacker level. Simmons, they traded earlier in the season. Kaiser White has been injured. And so, man, I've seen a lot from those safeties in terms of spinning down in the box and playing on the linebacker level. We all know about Buddha and how effective he is in the run game and what a sideline pursuer he is from a tackling perspective. I've been really impressed by Thompson in that tandem and their ability to use those guys interchangeably. They've answered some of the attrition, some of the loss of some people by throwing some challenging schematics at you. But those versatile safeties allow those schematics to happen. And so we got our hands full in that regard. We're at a hands full dealing with the volume of things that they do schematically, and those safeties are central to it.
And Jalen Thompson has 3 interceptions to lead the way. Coach, thank you. When we come back, we'll talk about the keys to this game coming up. Steelers at 7-4 try to get to 8-4 as they continue to look for a division championship in the AFC North. We'll talk about that and more as we continue. Missy, back to you.
Thanks so much, Bob. And yes, the race for the playoffs will only intensify. It's hard to believe that 2/3 of the season is already in the books. Coming up next, we go one-on-one with Captain Cam Heyward. He breaks down how the defense has stepped up recently and much more. Now it's time for this week's Yin's Chat trivia question. Who holds the Steelers' record for most passing yards in a game versus the Cardinals? Bobby Lane or Ben Roethlisberger? Find out after the break.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Your Yin's Chat trivia answer is Bobby Lane with 409 passing yards back in 1958. Yin's Chat's regular season challenge is back, and each week answer Steelers trivia and make game day picks for a chance to win signed helmets, jerseys, footballs, or even a trip to the 2024 NFL Draft. Answer the day's questions correctly and get double the points. Log into the Steelers mobile app now and play for a chance at this week's prize, a football signed by Pat Fryerman. While all eyes were on the Steelers' offense last week for good reason, the defense continued to dominate. For the sixth time in the last 7 games, they held the opponent to under 20 points. And with the return of Cam Heyward to the lineup just a few weeks ago, it's no surprise that unit is starting to gel as the final push of the regular season begins.
3rd and 12, empty set for Browning. Now they get to him, and then he comes forward, he's hit, and he's sacked by the captain, Captain Cam.
Captain Cam with a little help from TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith.
Captain Cam's first sack of the year.
30 long? I need that.
Cam, the Cardinals game will be the first game in December.
Yes.
What does December football mean when you hear that?
That's where you punch your ticket to the playoffs. You know, usually we're in the mix for all of it, and so you either gain ground or you lose ground. So we know we have some important games coming up, but we got to take advantage of this opportunity.
Under Coach Tomlin, at home, the Steelers are 29-11. It's tied for the best record in the league. Why do you think that record's so good?
You know, I think it's just guys buying in at the right time. There's a multitude of things that go on throughout the season, but I think everybody's locked in for a December run. And you look at it and say 20-11, there's 11 losses on there. But, you know, you got to spread that out through Mike T's career. It's pretty big. You know, he's been here longer than me. So, you know, that's less than one a year if you count in his book.
You had to throw that in, didn't you? Because he always gets after you.
He's got gray hair too.
What does it mean to you that next man up for the defense has really become next men up, especially recently with just all the injuries, not just including yours, but the inside guys and the secondary?
You know, I think it's a testament to, you know, the coaches getting players ready and the players taking advantage of those opportunities. And guys like Trenton Thompson, Michael Walker, Landon Roberts, he's been here. I mean, you know, he's not a young guy, but he plays like a young guy and is vocal in his responsibilities. Joey Porter Jr. stepping up. You know, when you have injuries throughout the season, you rely on your young guys and, you know, proving that they belong.
What about Keanu Benton, a guy on your line?
He is sacked, and that's Keanu Benton, the rookie out of Wisconsin.
Yeah, I don't give that kid enough credit.
Purposely?
Yeah, purposely.
Okay, you're pulling a Mike T there.
You know, I think, you know, in the D-line play, we all joke around, have a good time, but he's come on big for us. You know, losing Montrevious, myself, we needed guys to step in, and didn't matter what age you were, but we needed guys to step up, and I thought he did an amazing job, and he's continuing to keep doing it. He plays with good leverage, good hands, gets off blocks, gets after the quarterback too, and I love the way he runs after the ball. That's one thing I was taught here when I first got here, and you know he's emulating that every single time.
As long as you keep doing that, we good. You doing that, we good.
Since you have been back, the Steelers have allowed just 85.5 rushing yards per game, significantly better than when you were not in the lineup. Numbers don't lie, Cam. What does that say about your play?
I just want to be part of the mix. It was bugging me not to be out there, and I know my guys were fighting for every yard. You know, so when I got back, I just said I got to make sure I help the team.
What's the biggest key for this team to continue having their arrow pointed up?
I think one, stopping the run, get more turnovers, and play complement football. You know, I think offensive-wise, we're finding a stride there. You know, you look at last week, I thought we did a great job of just moving the ball and having consistency there. You know, but defense getting off the field, defense providing turnovers, offense holding on to the ball, and special teams making big splash plays. You can never have enough of those. They can change the outcome of games. So, you know, all of that, I think if we have complementary football, we're moving in the right direction.
All right, thanks, Cam.
Thanks, Melissa.
And you can catch more one-on-ones on the Steelers official YouTube page. Well, flipping the calendar to the last month of the year means it's time for December football. The Steelers will play their first 2 games of the month at Acrisure Stadium starting tomorrow with the Arizona Cardinals. Under Coach Tomlin, Pittsburgh is 29-11 at home in December. It's time now for your keys to the game, presented by your neighborhood Ford store. Here's Bob and Coach.
Missy, thank you. Now let's talk about some of the bigger elements. First of all, it's December football. You seem to be like Santa Claus, delivering wins in December. You like that role. How important is it to start, especially at home?
You know, December football has a texture to it. It does. The cumulative effect of all the snaps seen for individuals and collective is a factor. We like to be a team on the rise this time of year, and I think a certain component of that is winning the line of scrimmage, being able to run the ball, which we've done in recent weeks, and being able to stop the run, which we've been able to do in recent weeks. And so from that perspective, you feel good about our positioning, but we got to live it out week in and week out. It'll be big this week. James is going to run hard. They've got quarterback mobility to deal with. On the other side, they're going to throw a bunch of schematics at us, unique personnel groups, nickel 5-1 versus Kings and things of that nature to minimize the run. And so, you know, we like our positioning, but we realize that positioning is earned each and every week.
Last week you made a change, kind of quick turnaround with both Sullivan and Faulkner. Do you expect a little bit more, you know, cohesion in week number 2?
I think that's a reasonable expectation, but not that we're going to do anything differently. But it was a challenging week last week, not only in terms of the change, but, you know, Thanksgiving made it unique in terms of the things that we do, the things that everyone does. And so it'll be good to have a normal week if there's such a thing, and to do similar things and hopefully produce more traction and the type of results we're looking for.
And you always like coming back home, don't you?
Man, Acrisure Stadium, still a nation for sure.
You didn't like my Santa reference. You got the beard and everything. You deliver wins in December.
I'm not there yet. You know what I mean? The holidays always sneak up on me, man, because I'm in football mode.
You are focused, I'll say that, Coach. Thanks very much. Appreciate the time.
You know it.
And coming up, it is the Steelers against Arizona. You'll see it on KDKA. We begin with our pregame show at 11:30 a.m. Join us for that. We'll be live at the FedEx Great Hall. We got a lot coming up there. And then afterwards, 2 hours of postgame, all on KDKA. Thanks for joining us. And for Missy Matthews and Mike Tomlin, I'm Bob Pompeani. Have a great week. We'll see you Sunday at Acrisure Stadium.